Going. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Option Pit Morning Volatility Report. Glad to have people in here. We'll be getting going with the chat in a little bit. Events, our boot camp. Well, you can't see it anymore, but it's right here. You should be getting notes out in the mail. Boot camp, and then boot camp on Saturday. It's a double session. Mark has it for 6 p.m. on the schedule. That is not correct. I will edit that. It starts at 9:30 a.m. I'm actually going to edit that right now on the fly. Because I know that is going to confuse everybody to no end. I know that starts at 9:30 Eastern time. Look at that. Just checking things out just in case. There we go. Alrighty. I'm sure all of you are happy that it's hockey season started. You know what? My boat was within 2 inches of sinking, Frank. I think one more wave gust and it all would have been soaking wet. Anyway, so again, the boot camp went pretty good. You know what? I really like football in February. I don't really have time in the wintertime to sit at home and watch football. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. That is always fodder for the Options Insider Radio Network. Yeah. Oh, do you mean the boot camp, Robert? You know, that would be a longer boot camp. The problem is we tried to stretch it out before and it was too much. Like people want 2 hours that they can go and review like bang, bang, bang. So that's kind of why it's like that. If you want it more stretched out, you know, obviously you take the gold course and all the, you know, and the other stuff. Let's get to some markets. Anyway, so boot camp, here we go. Right. Yeah. Well, it is indoctrination. Yeah, I know. I'll go over that again tonight as well. There's not so much live vol in the number 1 as number 2. All right, so what do we got going? Let's just look here. I thought this was kind of interesting. We'll just do a couple things here. Biotechnology stocks seem to have, we're going to look for a trade today in here. Again, volatility not as high. And as we know, I mean, they've come by basically from what, 365 or something all the way down to here. And if they're going to show up now, one thing I did here, I was looking at, let's see here, there we go. This is like my little visualization system that I developed with a software company for a few years. But all this landscape is telling you is, you know, everything that's dark green, I mean the realized vol, the short-term realized vol is very high. And healthcare basically was leading everything down. Okay? Everything in red or white, that means the realized volatility is slowing down remarkably from the prior time. Yep, kind of, but it doesn't do all that blinky stuff that Omni does. It does refresh, but anyway, so what this basically says to me is the volatile part of the market is still healthcare, energy, oil and gas, and mining. Okay? Parts of the market that are starting to become less volatile, mostly healthcare, consumer staples, and technology. So again, if you want to, there's still a lot of volatility in puts in this area, but it's still moving. And the volatility is slowing down pretty much in financials. I know we will try to look at some. We have some trades in here, but again, as an area, this is leading. Financials are leading the volatility down. Okay, so is technology, especially the big tech. So you could, read that as the cues. So we'll go through that in the chat today, but there's still way more volatility in these four groups than there are in kind of the old line groups. Okay, right? That's how I read that information. So as far as today goes, we still have the same problems, but let's just say it's not as bad as it has been. So always a key factor coming out of backwardation. We were $2 over, I believe, for parts 1 to 2 days ago. We're now back up to about $1. Okay. The difference is the volatility products. October is now starting to drift closer again up. And the volatility products here are still, the long vol products are still catching a bid here into, right? They're still catching a bit of a bid into today. So, the market's selling off a little bit. Notice though, VIX cash is down, market's selling off. Okay? Generally, that's a big deal. Normally, if the VIX continues to kind of stay soft, we should see a little bit of a rebound in futures. Remember, we are pricing, average moves now on a high order, 1 to 1.5%. If we don't keep that up, they're going to go right back again. But we do need to see the futures drop out of backwardation to really see some of the vol shrink up a little bit. The only thing that looks like a slight little, let's just call it fly in the ointment. I know the news was out yesterday that Syria is bombing, U.S.-backed targets. That escalation is probably what's driving the price of oil a little bit higher today. I saw it up about $1.50 or something like that. So it's the reason why volatility, our vol futures are still, there's a slight bid to them. Okay, even though the cash is coming down. So that basically says, well, we're still a little bit worried future-wise, but the market is starting to just reprice the near term. It's starting just to reprice that volatility a little bit. The futures, though, are holding up, and they certainly can stay here. Remember, right, the natural way of things is for the VIX to drop to, cash to drop to 22. And this October future doesn't have to go anywhere just to stay into what is a normal contango, is about $1 to $2 over with 3 weeks to go, maybe $1.50. So the vol products could be locked up until the VIX actually really starts to sink. And as I would say, as of right now, that kind of remains to be seen. So again, I think just looking at some of the themes we've had, the banking looks good overall. Some modified, maybe some upside flies, and some of the technology stocks still look pretty good. For rebound, we could look for a little bit of protection. We have a non-farm payroll number coming out tomorrow, and then we see where the volatility goes after that. But we got a huge rally yesterday. The fact that they're giving some of it back today is not too big of a surprise. Okay, given the news coming out of the Middle East, it's that type of news is not normally bullish. Let's just put it that way. All right, and I don't see much to change that course. Again, when you're trading, the VIX is 23. You could be up or down 1% in 10 minutes, right? It's very easy for that to happen at this point. All right. So again, we'll look for similar trades that work, in that direction. All right, and with that, everybody, I will talk to you all in our chat room shortly. Bye-bye.